How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Changing Lives, hosted by me, Deonte Burden. Uh, with our show today, we're going to be talking about goal setting. With our show, Changing Lives, we talk about family, business, finance, and parenting, all the above, and everyone. So I'm glad to welcome everybody back. We was on a hiatus last week due to Thanksgiving holiday, but we're back at you this week, streaming live through Westside Misfits radio station. Once we get started here today, I want to say again, welcome back to everyone, and kind of give a recap of last week. Had a pretty good Thanksgiving holiday with my family. Got a chance to be with some of my cousins I hadn't seen in a while. Had a real good time with that. I don't know how many of you guys that actually follow us. And before I get into that, make sure you are following us on Changing Lives YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe to it. Again, that's Changing Lives on YouTube. Have a lot of information, a lot of videos there for you to follow us. We're also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram and Misfits Radio. So make sure when you get to it, like, share, subscribe to the videos. Streaming live. If you want to add any kind of comments to the chat, welcome to it. All information and comments are welcome. So please make sure you do that. Bring it back to the recap. I did a video in regards to Black Friday, and I got a mixed response to that. That was very unique in terms of that video for Black Friday. And with that video, I talked about with people things where people make decisions in terms of Black Friday. I see a lot of people that were talking about boycotting Black Friday. And I put the video out in terms of don't boycott Black Friday. And the reason why I said don't boycott Black Friday, because I have a lot of friends that are pro-Black, Pan-African, and they were just saying, hey, we need to just show the Black spending power. We don't have to deal with them. We can just show what we can do. And my whole challenge to everyone was, I think it was about crazy to try to boycott Black Friday. And the reason why I said that is because you have an opportunity where they're selling you something at a discount, and if you turn around and boycott that holiday where you're selling the item probably 50 to 70% off, skip the holiday, go back a week later, buy it at regular price, or maybe even closer to Christmas and buy it at a marked up price, hey, you're giving them money. And trust me, they're looking at you like you're crazy. And the thing of it is that when you do things like that, you're not showing the power that you have in terms of spending when you skip opportunities to buy stuff at a discount. You're actually doing something probably idiotic, because at the end of the day, you're giving them more money. And the solution that I gave to everyone is, if you really want to show the power of the Black dollar, just show that Black spending power, hell, just boycott Christmas altogether. And if you want to show that, because Christmas is probably the main revenue generator in terms of a seasonal holiday that most of these retail companies have. So if you boycott it all together, that's when you make your greatest impact. But the issue comes with that is what? Most folks not going to do that, because they got to get them Jordans, they got to get that bike, they got to get that computer, they got to get all that stuff for Christmas. So people have to understand, that's probably one of the biggest challenges. People have to understand that in order to make change, you have to make sacrifice. And a lot of times people aren't willing to make sacrifices. So that was one of the things. I got mixed reviews in terms of that, but it was good to have the conversation, because that's all I try to do is have conversations with everyone in terms of some of the other things we were looking at in terms of, say, the market trends. We have the stock market been going kind of chaotic. A lot of people are getting nervous. I was looking yesterday where you have is that the Ford plant? No, General Motors plant in Ohio is closing, and everybody's going crazy because they just remember a couple of years ago when President Trump was campaigning, we're bringing back more jobs, and now those jobs are leaving because this is an economic thing. You can't predict economics. I mean, I can give you all kind of dreams and things like that, but people are seeing now, if people not buying American cars, people not buying American cars. And now we're past that cheerleading stage where people was, Trump's making them, making America great. We're bringing jobs back and we're holding jobs in the country. And now you see what's happening. A lot of these plants are closing up and everything. And I think Ford. That's a General Motors plant, the one in Ohio. But Ford's closing jobs, Chrysler's closing jobs, and again, it goes back to, I mean, production is production. I can give you all kind of open promises, but people want to feel that things can happen. People want to feel things are going to be positive. But at the end of the day, economics is economics. And one of the bases of economics is that things you do today is a trickle-down effect. You might not feel them for a year or two from now. And the economy is probably headed to a recession in the next year and a half. And people just, the business world is starting to brace for it, and how deep it's going to affect everyone out here, I don't know. So that was just one thing I was looking at.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Is it, do you think it's going to be market correction? You think the market is going to correct itself from the highs that it got when they announced the tax cuts from Trump?
Well, I think the market is going to correct itself, and I also think the market is going to actually slump. When that's going to happen, I couldn't tell you. But I will say this. I would think things will probably be on the uptick at least through the first quarter of this year. Mm-hmm. And to the audience, when we talk about the market correction, things, you may have like a certain level how things are going in the economy, and then you might have a spike where it goes up crazy, or you may have a drop, and then certain things may happen where it may just get back to what we call normal. Those are those market corrections. But I don't think we won't see any kind of maybe drastic changes probably till like after the first quarter. We're talking about probably April 2019, May 2019, something like that. And I think coming out of next summer, we're probably going to see not necessarily the growth and activity that we have in the economy that we had this past summer, where it kind of looked like the late 90s and everything, and everything was just popping off. So, but that's one thing to see. Lastly, kind of want to bring up, we just went through Thanksgiving. We got the next major holiday coming up, which is Christmas. In the upcoming shows, I'll be leading up, giving some different thoughts and different strategies, and number one, thoughts about how to enjoy Christmas and thinking about it, but also different strategies in terms of enjoying the holiday, but not losing your mind and your shirt behind the holiday. So I'm a finance guy, so again, I see that a lot in terms of what people come to holidays. We lose our minds because we want to get this, want to get that from our kids. And Christmas, kind of like a video I put out a couple weeks ago, Thanksgiving and Christmas are going to come and go. And after those holidays have came and went, you still got reality. And most of the thing you're going to have left is the present and your family, and both will be there. And if you have went broke and spent everything you have, and next thing you know, we have the Christmas rent due, you don't have any money for rent, you don't have any food in the refrigerator, but you got a fresh pair of Jordans and a big screen TV, you'll be a fool. And it's nothing uncommon. So we're going to be talking about that in the next couple of weeks, kind of give you strategies to just enjoy the holiday, enjoy your family, and don't lose your mind or your shirt behind it, with that. But it's going to be a fun December. As I've gave out some of the promos, this week's show we're going to talk about goal setting. Reason why I want to talk about goal setting is because this is something I kind of try to revisit each November. At the end of November, beginning of December, try to look at the things I've said the previous November for the following year. Kind of see where I made my mark. Said this is a normal process I've been going for myself using for the past 10 years, and so that's why we're doing this now as opposed to trying to do it at the middle or the end of December. So I want to kind of give you guys, my blueprint as far as goal setting, kind of give you some ideas on what you need to do to help you strategize your goals for 2019, and also put in ways to implement it, and also ways to check it to make sure that, those goals are reached. Before we get started talking about goal setting, and when we start talking about goals, it's kind of like the same thing. We have those New Year's resolutions, and those New Year resolutions are things we sit here and say we want to do for the next year, and we kind of get started with it, and we have that energy with it, and we get off track for whatever reason. Things happen, we get bored, it ain't going as fast as we wanted to go, and it just changes. So these are some of this whole plan that I'm about to give you guys, hopefully keep you on track. I see a lot of people, I think it'd be very trendy because everybody want to lose weight. and they start off going to the gym, and they start feeling good. January, they looking at themselves in the mirror, and what like middle of January, February, everybody on Facebook and YouTube taking selfies in their underwear. You know what I mean? They ain't scared to show them rolls.
Looking back at it.
There you go. Every angle you can possibly see, they showing it, letting you know, hey, I'm in the gym, I'm sweating. They feeling good because they doing it every day. And then by the time March, April hit, it's starting to warm up. Okay, now it's time to get in some real summer clothes, and we're kind of trending towards that. They didn't lose that roll the way they wanted to. Mm-hmm. They didn't lose that little dimple in the butt the way they wanted to. So they kind of draw back. We're going into it and stuff like that. And so by May, you see the people, hey, man, you don't go to the gym anymore. Hey, lady, what happened? They just, I don't like going to the gym because every time you go, folks try to talk to you. Or now, my shift changed or something like that. But typically what happens a lot of times is we kind of get sidetracked because things you didn't properly strategize how you should have went about everything in terms of your plan, because it was a resolution and an idea, but you didn't properly format how you wanted to go through the year in terms of instilling everything out. So one of the first things that I would encourage everyone, I know this is last minute, to get you a pen and paper, because I apologize, I don't have a easel or anything like that, but get you a pen and paper, because I'm going to give you some strategies and a blueprint on how to do this, and you may not necessarily retain it. Now, keep in mind, we are streaming live on YouTube, so you can always go back to the YouTube page. Remember, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, right. Changing Lives, so it'll be there forever. So if you do miss anything, you can go back. But if you got an opportunity now, kind of write notes and everything, because I'm going to drop a couple things on you. So when we start, setting those goals for 2019, this is what I want to, the first thing I want everybody to do. Just free fall brainstorm. Write down all the things you want to do. I want to go rock climbing. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a car. I want to lose weight. I want to make $1 million. I want to, all the stuff that you want to do, that you feel like you can get accomplished in 2019. Give yourself some time. It may take you a couple days to do it. That's why we're doing this in November and not, a day or two before the new year. Be real detailed in terms of it. Don't feel restricted. Don't feel like any idea is dumb. I just want you to free fall, write down all these things that you want to accomplish for 2019. Kind of like in business world, we call it just a free fall brainstorm. Just writing this stuff down and everything by yourself. Nothing is unimportant, anything like that. Okay. So when we go back, we've done that for a couple of days, and we see these items we wrote down. There are two important key factors that I want you to look at with each one of those ideas that you wrote down as far as the goals. Make sure they're incremental and they're attainable. Remember that. They have to be incremental and attainable. Okay? What I mean by incremental is that for a goal that you set to accomplish in 2019, you can actually take steps to get there. It's not nothing that you can just say, presto, I'm there. Okay, that's the incremental side. And attainable, just being realistic. Okay? I'm 5'6", I can't be 6 feet. Okay, so I can't hang upside down and get taller. Okay? I don't know anything I can do in the next 365 days to get me $1 million. Okay? Make sure they can be something I can work towards, but make sure that it's attainable. It's a realistic goal that you can get to. Okay? Remember those two key words, incremental and attainable. Okay? The next thing, you have to just sit down with yourself and be realistic and understand that this is a process. Okay? We're saying these are 2019, not January and February goals. Okay? So we know that this is a process, and so I'm in this for the long haul. I'm finna get this stuff done. I'm not finna force myself. I'm gonna write this stuff down, and I'm gonna get a plan of action to get this stuff accomplished. Okay? Once you're doing this, you're going through your list. You're saying, okay, do these items fit in this criteria? Do it not? More than likely, what's gonna happen? Say if you got 20 items, it's gonna change to maybe 5, maybe 10 at most. But I'm thinking probably about 5 items where you realistically can say, hey, okay, these are things that I can accomplish. Now, some of those items you might look at and say, I can do it, but it might take longer than a year. And there's nothing wrong with kind of maybe setting that to the side where you got something that may take you, a year and a half. And, honestly, some of your goals might not take you a year. You might just say, this is a 3-month goal, 6-month goal. I can get this accomplished, first quarter of the year, half year, might be September you get it accomplished. But so when we get into that, now we're starting to look at, okay, what's the timetable we're doing those goals. So we got those, let's say we got those 5 items wrote down in terms of our goals. And they reached that our initial criteria. They're realistic, they're attainable, and they're also incremental. Okay. Now we want to try to start going through our step process with getting to our goals. The first thing for each goal, I need you to sit there and look at for each item, what do you need to do to make that goal happen? And I want you to be as detailed as possible. Again, step 1, what do I need to do to make that goal happen? And this may be a list of things. So if you sit here and say, I want to save up $1,200 for the year, we know that we have to say we put in $100 each month. I may need to, and with that $100 a month, I might need to cut so much of my check to do this. I want to help my son make honor roll this year. You may have to allocate some of your time, some of your free time with doing that. You may have to get a tutor. You may have to call a couple of your family members to help them study. So each one of these tasks, write down the different items that you may need to accomplish that goal. Okay? More than likely, if you really want to make it happen, you're going to have more than one thing to kind of get to it. Okay? And remember, we're still in a kind of a free fall brainstorm state. Okay? So nothing's concrete. When you're doing this kind of stuff, guys, I want you to make sure you understand that this is a plan. Okay? And plans change. Okay? So you don't get discouraged in terms of the way you sit there and map things out to happen is not happening. So just remember that this is a plan and plans change. So again, step 1, for each goal that you set, write down the things that you need to accomplish that one goal. Okay? So you done that, you probably get, say, 5 to 10 items to do that. Now we're going to get ready to go to step 2.
Well, let me ask you a question. On the goals, should they be large goals? Do you think large goals are good, or do you think small and incremental goals are better because you can focus and do those quicker? Like you can attain those quicker, because sometimes when we have large goals and we're not obtaining them as quickly as we think we should, we tend to get discouraged and stop doing them. So you think smaller goals that may be attainable quicker are better, or you think just goals in general are good?
I think goals in general are good, because keep in mind what we're doing, and we're part of the free fall with doing these, is setting the goals. We're already making a decision if they realistic and attainable. And part of that brainstorming, we knew that this may take 3 months. This item may take a year. So at the end of the day, you're doing everything in conjunction. So the things if you know that you have an exam for your job in April, you have a goal, I want to ace it. I got to make a 90-something. That's my goal to make it on that. Those things you got to do, the allocation of time to study each week, each month, building up to that April exam. You have to do that. Then if you say at the end of the year, I want to make sure that I get a 100 rating or a 90 rating for my job evaluation, and you already know the items that you're rated for on your job. If you're doing each thing each month, those little goals you set each month to get to that point, you should get to it. So it's either or. It's less the size of the goal, more how you plan to make the goal happen.
Okay. Let me ask you one more question. I'm sorry.
You fine.
When you set a goal and you say, so you set a time frame for the goal. Like, say if you set a goal, because I guess human nature is, if you say, well, it's going to take me a year to do this, it's going to take you every bit of that year to do that, instead of just saying, I'm going to do this. Do you think it's better to set a time frame, or do you think it's just better to set out and just start doing it and not necessarily have a time frame in your mind? Because If it takes a month, you may could do it quicker if you don't say, "Oh, it's gonna take me a month." You get what I'm saying? The human nature to think, "Oh, I have this much time to do this," instead of just doing it and getting it done.
Great question. Great question. And that goes back to probably the step before. We want to try to segregate once we determine that the goal is incremental and attainable. We start segregating it in terms of this is a 1 month goal, this is a 3 month goal, this is a 6 month goal. This something's probably gonna take me all 2019. Here's the deal, people. We gotta be, this is where you got to be honest with yourself. At the end of the day, this is something that you want to accomplish. So you have to show, for us to do this, you have to show some discipline, okay? And if you know this is something that's not going to take you a year to do, don't do that. Now, if you know that it's something that you set to be 3 months and you get 2 months into it, hey, man, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. You need to add a month or two to it, do that, okay? But don't shortchange yourself and string on something that's should have been done in a month or 3 months all year long. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. So you have to have discipline. Again, we're doing a blueprint for a budget. But, I probably should have said from the beginning, you have to be disciplined. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you guys some parameters or things that kind of help you keep you in check in terms of everything. But you got to be accountable for yourself if you want to make this stuff happen. Okay? Now we're going to go to step 2. And it's kind of like going what we were talking about before. Set that timetable. Set that timetable. And, like I said before, if you think it's going to be done in a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 or 3 quarters, however you want to do that. And be very honest about how long it will take you. And the way I want you to be honest with yourself about how long it's going to take you, look at your personal ability and your availability. Again, look at your personal ability in terms of if this something that's difficult, that you like, okay, normally, just say if you can type 1,000 words a minute, it's not going to take you that long to type up a paper, right? Or type up a report. Or if you want to do a novel, rather. Or as opposed to you typing 2 or 3 words a minute. You're not a typer at all. You might have pig. You might have to outsource a writer or something like that. That's why I say in terms of your ability and then the next word, your availability. Do you work 2 jobs? Do you work a certain shift? Do you have to be at your kids' stuff? Do you have to take a family member to the doctor all the time? Do you have a limited schedule? Are you free all the time? So again, you have to be realistic about your availability to make your goals happen. Making these assessments to do that and setting this time frame is not to discourage you, but it's to help you be realistic about everything, okay? Because a lot of times it's just like what Lab was asking me about setting those giving yourself more time or giving yourself less time with a goal. At the end of the day, you cannot put yourself in a situation where you won't make things happen and now you're crunching. Just like if you're in college and what was it, cramming for a test?
Cramming for exam.
Yeah, you cramming for the exam and you sitting there, you done took all this coffee and no-dos and you shaking like a damn fool because you can't get any sleep and you can't even think. And you had a week and a half and, you really didn't have a week and a half because if you look at the time you had to go to work or the time you have another class, you probably had about maybe 4 or 5 free hours to prepare. And you realize you're a day away and you only had them 4 or 5 free hours to study for it. So again, make sure that you do an honest assessment about this. Again, keep in mind, we're at step 2, we're looking at time. This is why we do this at the end of November and the beginning of December as far as setting our goals. Because we want to give ourselves enough time to kind of realistically look at what we done this past year. What we look at where we're going to be at going into next year as far as setting these goals, okay? Now we're going to get into step 3. Step 3, we're starting getting into that phase of getting everything in. With step 3, we start mapping it out, plotting it on the board, segregating it realistically about if it's going to be a monthly, quarterly, or yearly plan. What I've always done, I usually go like a win calendar, and I get those blank calendars for January, February, March, or whatever the month is, and I'll write down those particular tasks. Just how I want to do for each month or each day or the week and everything. And that's how now we're starting to map it out. We're starting to get that blueprint and how things get done. Sometimes I know like you might be at your job and they'll each corporation or company have those monthly, quarterly, and yearly goals, and they have those tick marks that we want to make sure we've done these things at this particular time during this particular month or quarter, and that way it'll come to the sum of the goal. And that's all we're doing. We're just mapping everything out, writing it down. A good practice, write it down in pencil. Because again, I said, and I can't stress to you enough, this is a plan. A plan changes. We can be knee deep in March with one goal. We get a shift change. We get a new supervisor. We get a new task. And we have to maybe stay at work a little later. So we can't get to the gym at 5 because I got to learn this new job, but I might can't get at the gym to 6:30. So that hour and a half I had at the gym might go to 45 minutes. Don't mean stop working out. It just mean adjust. Okay, so good practice, kind of be writing this stuff down in pencil to do that. So now step 3, like I said again, we're starting that phase of writing stuff down, putting it in there. Okay, now we get to step 4. Step 4 is more going back to the discipline part, having accountability. Again, discipline. Okay, this where a lot of times I tell you people get off track. We got to be on top of ourselves. Good practice, listen, get your accountability partner. Somebody hey, gonna ask, hey man, how you doing with this? How you doing with that? Don't take it personal. They say, man, I thought you were supposed to be doing that. Kind of make you feel bad to do it, not to make you quit. You got that accountability partner, just staying on top of you. You have those tick marks on that little calendar to make sure you've met that, so you actually visually see this thing on this board. Man, I should be right here in March. It's March, man, I ain't did it. So you see that. That's kind of keeping you accountable for what you're doing with that. Another good practice is something I always done. I use a Google Calendar. If you have Bing, set it on your iPhone. Put those things to make an alert at certain times. Those benchmarks that you want to make, set that in your calendar so it's in your alert to let you know, hey, you should be at this point or this should have been accomplished. Man, you're right. So now you taking a lot of stuff off you, that human side, because you might forget. We got something called life. Stuff happens and stuff you forget. Put those stuff in alerts when you mapping everything out. This to help you be accountable. Okay. Now we're going into step 5. I hope you guys are retaining some of this stuff because again, I've used these plans for the past 10 years and they work pretty good for me. But keep in mind, like I said again, this is just a plan. Okay, step 5. This is what we're looking at, on a monthly basis. You want to be doing this. Do your review. Where did I make it towards each step? And this is probably the only thing I'm telling you is concrete. Each month, let's assess it. What did I do, to meet those goals? What did I do? Did I do those actual things to get to where we're supposed to be? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Did I get ahead of the game with doing that? Could I take some of the next month when doing this? Can I take some other tasks off to get ahead? You making that assessment each month because you already been segregating it. And I will tell you this. If you stick with this plan and if you do all the steps going to it, the sum of all your actions should add up to your goal. Again, the sum of all your actions should add up to, your goal. Okay.
I got a question about assessment.
Okay.
When you assess it every month. Mm-hmm. When you assess it every month, and you were saying in the beginning, I think on step 3 it was, or step 2, that if you need to add more time, go ahead and add the more time. Mm-hmm. When you do an assessment, is that the time you think you should add the time or take away the time, or and even write down the things that may have prevented you from accomplishing some of the things you were supposed to accomplish within that assessment time? Like if you say, okay, I'm going to assess myself in this month, and then in a month you haven't accomplished anything, instead of being upset or distressed about it or stressed about it, you write down why it was that you did not accomplish that within that month. Like what prevented you from, I started a new job, so I wasn't able to do this, or funds were low at this time because my son was sick. As you are assessing, you are also writing down why you weren't able to accomplish and why you were able to accomplish quicker, maybe. and then add on time or take away time based on your assessment, right? Is that will we do that at that time?
That's a good question. Good question. You do that at that time at the end of the month to kind of look at why you didn't hit your mark, why you got ahead, or why you behind. That's a good point. But during the month, yeah, like I said, if you had those changes, the shift change, new responsibility at your job, you can make those adjustments right then and there. You don't have to wait till month end because that could be happening. That's a very good question because that can happen at the beginning of the month, and if that happened at the beginning of the month, we don't need to wait 3 or 4 weeks later to realize that. You know, it's kind of like you see the hole in your roof. You know it's gonna get worse. It's gonna fix it now and everything like that. So but that is a good question. But I will say this: when you're in the fight or going through it each month, you don't want to have to stop or just get frustrated that hey, I may not meet my ticker. Finish the month out and then make that assessment. But if you have those drastic changes that just totally change everything off, like I said, the shift change, death, lose your job, move, anything like that, yeah, you got to make an adjustment then because you can't even really, do the task then. So that's a good question. Now, we're at a point right now, I went through the whole steps in terms of setting your goals. What I want to do right now is kind of give you an example, of just say setting a goal, right? An example I'm going to give you is just say a car purchase, okay? And with the car purchase, we're just going to say, okay, I'm going to do my brainstorming. I'm just my free-for-all. And I might say with a car, I got to save up $5,000. I want to get what would be the price for car insurance? I got to get an inspection. Am I going to get it financed? Do I want to make sure I get a car that's reliable? Do I want to get a car with low maintenance costs? Do I want to get a car that's fuel efficient? Do I want to get a car that looks real good and everything? So you kind of just brainstorming, putting all this stuff down. Okay, this is step 1. We're going through that. Okay, step 2. What I would look at in terms of I could do maybe a combination of step 2 and step 3. And kind of look at it in terms of mapping it out and say, okay, this is what I want to do with this car. Maybe break it down how I'm going to go through the process of getting this car over a year. Okay? So I might say the first quarter, January through March, I'm doing my research. I'm looking at different cars that I may have to kind of answer those questions I was looking at in terms of, inspection, durability, fuel efficiency, maintenance costs, fuel costs. Gather that information. If that car can be a good fit for me. And kind of use those 3 months to make an assessment. We go to that second quarter where we at April through June. We may we looked at those cars, got the information. We narrowed down to 3 models, okay? And now I'm trying to do my little process elimination, kind of see if my benchmarks are getting met. I want fuel efficiency. What's most important to me? I might say fuel efficiency. I'm not really tripping about the cost. I want, decent maintenance costs. And everything, we go through that process elimination and see those 3 models, how do they fit into that criteria. And we spend those 3 months kind of going through that. By the time we get to that third quarter, which we're like at the end of September, what we've done through those from July to September, we kind of maybe draft the budget out. Then we're sitting there looking like, okay, I'm maybe going to spend maybe $3-4 grand on this car. Am I going to pull it out of my savings? Am I going to finance it? Do I want to lease it or want to buy it? Just go through those kind of ideas in terms of the acquisition, how we're going to acquire that car, how we're going to get it. Okay, you spin through that, look at your different options, in terms of acquiring the car. I'm aware of my credit score. I'm aware of the different funding options I have. And then now I got that information. We're getting the last quarter year. Now we're going to straight execution. Okay, we're looking at getting the car, and with getting the car, we're looking at, reaching out to different insurance company, finding actually the people that are going to be doing the maintenance for the car, who's going to be, what kind of warranty I'm going to have on that car and everything, and also just enjoy the car. So what I just gave you was, and I know it kind of zipped through it, a blueprint on just something simple as buying a car. Sometimes they can go faster, sometimes they can go longer. But the way I just gave you, you took a lot of stress out of yourself with doing that. You planned it out. You gave yourself an opportunity to make sound financial decisions. Now keep in mind, we're not, and I understand if You driving your car getting a wreck, or your car broke down, and you know you need a new car. Totally different. We're talking about goals. At the beginning of the year, you decide you want this, and you want to take a whole year to make that decision. You can narrow it down to 6 months. You can narrow it down to 3. But you're putting yourself in a position where you can break it out and make a sound, financial, and very smart decision that you're not forcing to do that. Okay? But again, I want you guys, if you got anything lost, you're able to go on the YouTube channel, which is Changing Lives, hosted by me, Deonte Burden. I mentioned the first show, I didn't say it again. I'm a accountant by profession. I do a lot of consulting work. You're welcome to all the videos. I have my tab. You can hit on that if you want to set an appointment. Say, hey, look, Deonte, my stuff is a little bit more extreme, and you want to book an appointment. Listen, you're welcome to do that. The links to are on my website. My company is Majestic Business Services, and our website is www.majesticbiz.com. And on the website, I have links there. On the YouTube channel, I have links to all the consulting links. So if you want to book an appointment to just, talk it over and everything, you're welcome to do that. But definitely right now, what was given to you, you can just go for infinity looking at this information on YouTube. And again, the page is Changing Lives on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Let me ask you a question. Deonte, I'm sorry to button in on your lovely conversation. You're giving us such good free game.
I appreciate it.
Let me ask you a question. Can you talk to them about actually setting, and when you may have said this and I may have missed it, I apologize if I did, about setting realistic goals, like goals that they know that they can actually attain, and not say to themselves, I'm going to be a millionaire by the end of the year. If you know you can't attain that, don't set that goal. I mean, just talk to them about the fact that they need to be realistic with themselves in the goals that they set for the year. Because what generally happens is, I think, and this may be my opinion, you tell me what you think, you're the professional on this. If you set your goals too high and you don't make them at the end of the year, then it may lead you to be upset or depressed about it. Whereas you probably should have sat back and thought about it and set more realistic type goals. You may not be a millionaire at the end of the year, but you can be a thousandaire because you have $5 in your pocket right now. You get what I'm saying? Just kind of tell them how realistic goals can become bigger goals.
Absolutely, that's a good point. And I kind of touched on that, at the beginning.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
No. You're fine. You're fine. But for the simple fact you brought it up, I think that is very important, because that is one of the main reasons why people don't reach their goal, because they don't set realistic goals. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm on both sides of it. Mm-hmm. Shoot for the stars, you land on the moon. So so I don't want you to underestimate, but like you just said, keyword, make sure it's realistic. We all want to be dirty rich. Mm-hmm. We all want to be super successful. We all want to be super smart.
Right.
But I know a lot of people hate when I say it, but I really do mean it. Rome wasn't built in one day.
Right.
And you have to be realistic about what you're able to do. That's why I say those two words, ability and availability. If you know you're not in the capacity to generate a lot of money, that could be through your income with your job, businesses, different other endeavors or investments. You can do the math and add that stuff up. And we're not talking about, I'm going to pray on it, I'm going to hope on it, I'm going to guess on it, I'm going to gamble on it. No. We're talking about stuff that you can realistically plan out to do. And if you can't do that, let's not set those goals. And like I said before, $1,200, $100 a month, we got $1,200. If you want to get $6,000, $500 every month, you got $6,000. Now, how you go about putting that $5 to the side, that's for you to sit here and say, I'm gonna pull from this, I'm gonna pull from that, because I can comfortably pull from those channels to get that aggregate number of $6,000 at the end of the year, or $500 at the end of the month. That's fine, but again, incremental and attainable. We just went through the process of what you need to do each week, each month, to make those goals happen. And I'm very serious about too many times people sit here and say, well, we gonna hope and do. You can't do that. You can't do that. And you're not going to have success with what you're doing, hoping and wishing things are going to happen for you. You know, a lot of times, we get into, well, God going to make it happen, this, that, and that. God gave you a brain. God gave you a brain for you to use. God gave you limbs for you to use. You know, you have to make decisions and do certain actions to make things happen. You know, unless you David Copperfield, you can go hocus pocus. 9 times out of 10, you ain't. So I think you best to just kind of map everything out and try to work hard to make certain things happen. You know, I had a conversation with my oldest son. I tell him a lot of times, it's a reason why everybody ain't successful. Everybody ain't gonna make certain sacrifices to get there. You know, you got some people that's inherently smarter. You got some people that's inherently more athletic or talent or do certain things. But there's a common denominator called action. And you have to do something to make things happen. And if you're not willing to do that, you know, hey, you're going to fall short. You got overachievers. You got people that's lucky. Things happen and stuff like that. But they're far and few between from being realistic and everything. So that's one thing I want to kind of get everybody to stick on. But again, if you go to the channel, Changing Lives, hosted by Changing Lives on the YouTube channel, this same information is going to be there. So I want everybody, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You'll be able to get all this information that I just put out to you. One thing I do want to give a quick finance tip, and go through this, in terms of people looking for professionals. Okay, and what I mean about professionals, and I hate to change gears, but again, we're at the finance tip section. Each show I'm trying to give a business tip and or a finance tip. Last week I gave a business tip. This week I'm gonna give a finance tip. And the tip that I want to give real quick is about seeking out professionals. With us being in the information age and Google and YouTube so accessible, we think we can do every damn thing possible. Okay.
I'm guilty, Deonte. I'm guilty.
Now, let me say this, because I'm a military guy. I'm very big on people being self-reliant, taking initiative, and try to do it yourself. I got 2 of my sons here today, and they'll tell you, one of the first things out of my mouth, they say they can't do it. I'm going to say, damn it, did you try? So, and I have no problem with trying to get people to, take initiative on your own. But, it's the reason people go to law school. It's the reason why people go to medical school. It's the reason why people, go to architectural school and stuff like that. They have a unique skill set with certain things. And I want people to understand there are certain things, you have a cap at certain things that you need to be realistic. Hey, this is out of my scope. This is out of my scope. When you look at Law and Order, or you see people's court, and people just say, okay, this is how it is, and next thing you know, you're in court and you holler object, and they ain't even some of the process you can't even object to certain calls. You go to WebMD, you got a cut on your foot, and they telling you basically put a little bit of this and put a little bit of that, and you might got a high grade infection going on that you can't see. Next thing you know, a week later, you're dead as hell because you're trying to patch yourself up. No, go spend that $20 copay. Go spend $100, $200. Yeah, I understand money don't grow on trees, to get consultation from that lawyer. You want to get a building or certain thing like that, go get an architect. They're versed in codes. They're versed in certain things that can't happen in certain areas and stuff like that. Leverage the knowledge that they have, because I'm gonna say this, and I know everybody got different views on it. I'm not a huge Trump fan myself, but probably the best business book, and I always refer people back to it, I ever read in my life, was The Art of the Deal. And I learned so much from that book, and I read that book about 15 years ago, maybe almost 20 years ago, and he spent so many times, and you see in terms of the businessman he is, he spends most of his times getting the best and the brightest of each field to give him information, and then from that point he just makes a decision. So my point to you is that those people that are out there, and again, I ain't saying everybody got $1,000 to retain no lawyer to get this, get a certain consultation, but when you can get certain professionals to help you to make a sound decision, especially if you want to get in business or when you got certain things to lose, listen, pay them folks. Because if you don't damn pay them, I get, even from the consulting side, I got people that are buying buildings that, and they want us to put a certain business there. Zoning restrictions, they can't even do it. So they bought this one building, want to put a club there, can't have it because it's so many feet away from a school. They get all this equipment that they want to use. They find out now they got to get all these licenses to be able to do that particular work. You could have paid a consultant, or attorney, get you some kind of broker to give you the information beforehand to say, listen, before you spend this money on that, these are the options you got to have, that you only have, or these are the steps you need to take. Instead of just going in the dark. And sometimes with YouTube, yes, you have a lot of information that's readily available, but it's holistic information. What I mean by holistic is that it's information that may be good in California, but it ain't good in Georgia. It may work in Miami, but it ain't flying in Atlanta. So, again, I want everybody to kind of, seek professional consultation when you can. You may save yourself a lot of time and money in the long run of doing that. So that's my tip to everyone on that. With that said, I want to start kind of winding down. We're on the kind of down stretch of the show and everything like that. So, but I want to go into something that's been kind of near and dear to me over the past couple weeks. We just went through a very, very tight gubernatorial race in the state of Georgia. We had a very tight one in the state of Florida. And all around the country, you had a lot of tight races, different political races and everything like that. And I heard a lot of conversation because, election time is a real exciting time, in the country, because now you got everybody talking. You got the people that are real versed with politics. You got people that don't know a damn thing. But everybody's talking. It's cool. So, just like everybody, just like you every damn corner in the barber shop. You got these guys that are very, very enlightened, and you got these damn folks know a damn thing. And everybody shooting off stuff, and it's cool. It's cool. And everybody know me. I'm big on conversating. I never knock anybody about how they feel or how they view. And like I tell folks, with this show, I'm not trying to push my views or tell you my way is the right way. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm very big on there's several ways to skin a cat. If you want to cross the finish line, you can race over it, jump over it, crawl over it, hop over it, roll over it. At the end of the day, the finish line crossed. And that's how I look at accomplishing things. So to bring back to what I want to talk about, we need to really push deductive reasoning and thinking, okay? And what I mean by that is a lot of times people look at political races or even things in life and just say that, I ain't voting for that woman, because she black, or I ain't voting for him because he's a Republican, and they don't do certain things to kind of equip themselves with knowledge. And when I start saying deductive reasoning is that, going back to the previous stuff I was talking about, the finance tip, equipping yourself with information in life to make sound decisions, okay? I'm not a political guru, and I ain't finna sit here in front of you like I am. But I tell you what, when you start talking about politics and things like that, what people have to understand is that one of the worst things, this is how I feel, but I really feel this deeply. I hear people say, I don't vote because they don't make a difference and all that kind of stuff. And I think you're crazy as hell. Because when you talk about people that can make decisions that can affect your life, you can't afford not to. We can, the easiest thing I can say, look at the sacrifices people made for us as blacks, 50, 60 years ago, giving up their lives is enough. But just on the surface, when you're we're talking about people that can make decisions that can affect your life, that can have it where your kids may not be able to go to a certain school. Excuse me, you may not be able to work your certain job because of your gender, your race, your health. You may not even have certain opportunities. You can't afford not to know or not be informed. I have conversation with people. Well, I don't know nothing about, Stacey Abrams. I don't know nothing about Kemper. I don't need it. Well, Google them. Shit, don't sit there and say nothing like that. Google them. Find out. Don't ask me no ignorant stuff. Why you vote? Why this, that, and that? No, damn. Why I find out about these people? And I'm not. It's not an issue of me telling you either way to vote or go Republican or go Democrat, or learn how to drive or not how to drive. You have to be realistic about what you don't know. And when you don't know intentionally, a lot of times that, I'm sorry, I had a little glitch. We take accountability off ourselves. Okay, and what I mean by that is when a person can tell you, I don't know nothing about her, I don't know nothing about her, they know that. They know they don't know nothing about this particular person or this particular item. Well, I didn't know how to get downtown, or I didn't know about purchasing a car, and everything. Shit, find out, get you the information. Because once you know, now you're accountable. But we don't want to be accountable. We want to be intentionally ignorant to certain things. And that's bullshit. If you're an adult, you want to be intentionally ignorant. You have an obligation to keep yourself informed. There's no way in the hell a damn adult can sit here and tell anyone, well, I don't know enough about this person. Get your ass on Google. You can go on YouTube. Most of the time when you have people running in high-level political positions, they've been in the game at least about 10 years. Most of them. We're talking about from a U.S. senator, governor, and everything. You probably can get a lot of information and footage. Now, it may be slanted, depending on what forum it came from. Some of it might be pro them, some might be against them. But you still can get some damn information. Once you got the information, that's when you use that thing in between your ears to kind of process it, and you come to a conclusion or decision that you want. But you can get information. And the worst thing you can do is sit here and say, I didn't know. That's bullshit. You need to try. That you have to do that. That was one of the things that I had a very big problem this past political season, especially with the governor's race. A lot of people abstained. A lot of people, we had a lot of activity with doing it, and people got different reasons. And I understand, because I get asked, you think it's right to vote for somebody because they black, you think you vote for somebody because they white, you think you vote for them when they short or tall. I mean, that's, people do that. I've been damn class president since 6th grade, and some of them did it because, they might think Poochie cute, they think Poochie short, think Poochie smart, or Poochie just a good friend to have. I don't give a damn, but I do feel like a lot of times Poochie was picked because they know Poochie was capable. Right. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because that's the system we have. And the rules of the game, that's what we play by. You can't get upset when they don't work in your favor. But you can only control yourself. How that person came to the clues, made their decision, and can't do nothing about it. Best thing you want to do is just everybody, enjoy and try to, act in the process. But I just want really a lot of people to kind of understand where I'm coming from, to just make that commitment to be informed. Because we got, 2 more years, it's going to be all the way live again. And you're going to have maybe another Barack Obama pop up that you never, not necessarily a household name, or state senator from Chicago, going, for his first term. And who is he? Well, I ain't going to vote for him because he's black. Okay, well, shit. You still, right now in this information age, you can pull all the information up. Okay? Even on the local level, the county level, state, city. Find out who your people are. Go to your city council meeting. Go to your county meetings. Get informed. Don't let your friend, and you're not saying your friend gonna give you bad information. Well, man, go do this. Y'all need to be here and stuff like that. I seen a couple things this week. People talking about different things with the counties, with prisoner transportations and stuff like that and everything. I was kind of excited that people just talking about it. I'm cool. But now I find out who's the person you need to talk to. What's the reason why they don't do it? It may be a fiduciary reason. It may be a reason folks just don't give a damn. But go get informed. Stop having knee-jerk reactions to everything, because that's one of the biggest problems we have right now in this country. We're so damn reactive and not proactive. We got reactive results. You got somebody in office that you thought were going to get you all these damn jobs. And like I said, again, we go from an economical standpoint. A lot of stuff with the economy going up was stuff that maybe the Obama administration put in 3 or 4 years ago, and now they spiking up. And you do a couple changes here and there. Now they starting to go down. At the time when they spiked up, who's in office, who's in office. You can't change that. But a lot of times, but the person that's getting the benefit of it, they're going to take the credit for it. I don't know if you guys remember the last show that I was talking about parents getting credit for the kids being smart and they ain't did a damn thing. One of those kind of things. But please, again, people, I want you really to stay informed. Stay informed, stay informed. So, because there is no excuse with the amount of information we have in 2018, and it's going to get more and more 2019 with the accessibility to information for you to be informed and really empower yourself with a whole lot of information. Because, again, you know.
We had a question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Someone wanted to ask, what do you think about the stabbing at Jonesboro High School?
The stabbing at Jonesboro High School?
Yeah.
I don't know about the stabbing at Jonesboro High School.
Okay, well, that person, we don't know about the stabbing at Jonesboro High School.
Okay.
I think it was on Facebook.
Okay, I don't know about a stabbing at Jonesboro High School. I will say this, and I'm going to give this
But
a
that
quick...
applies to elections and school boards and that.
Well, I'm going to give a quick tidbit, 2 ways to look at this, even with the kids. I'm a C.L. Harper High graduate out of Atlanta. My school was probably one of the first schools in APS that administered full metal detectors. Because I seen a kid get murdered my senior year right there in front of me in the cafeteria, and they installed those metal detectors. The one thing we do need to push with kids today is conflict avoidance, conflict resolutions. Too many times we have young kids out here today, they don't understand. And trust me, I understand. I grew up on that Bankhead, and I know that you're not always going to be in a situation you can turn the other cheek and you can walk away. I know that. Trust me. I'm 5'6" too, so trust me. I understand you're not going to have the glory. I'm 5'6" with a temper. So I understand if you're not always going to be able to turn the other cheek. But I think a lot of times you don't have to give the first or second response that can lead to conflict, and it ain't nothing wrong. Like I tell my kids or kids I coach, ain't nothing wrong with not getting the last word. He called you a punk. He called you a girl. He said something smart. Walk away. But you're alive. You know, and I don't know the specifics of what happened at the school. It is unfortunate and hurts me because, again, you talking to a father, and person been coaching 17 years, that a lot of young folks are having these kind of things happen. When I think and it goes back to what we need to probably be teaching communication skills with some of these kids resolving certain issues. But I apologize. I'm just not informed enough to know what happened today at Jonesboro. You know, was doing it. And one of my brother, Coach Carlos Benefit, just put on Instagram, had a good point. The person wanted to fight, or the person that chose not to fight. Be the bigger man. Live for the next day and everything. And that's one of the true testaments of a man. You ain't always got to get into all that verbal arguments and stuff, and everything. And your pride and your visibility in the community is a whole lot stronger than you ain't sitting there, acting a fool just like somebody else. Because I tell kids all the time, when you see a person that's sane arguing with a fool, a person on the outside don't know which one is the fool. So you got to just be smart enough. Don't get yourself in there. Like my granddad used to always tell me, you playing dirt, you're going to get in your eye. So just don't get in the dang dirt, I hope I gave everybody some good information. I do want to let everybody know, I had a great time giving the game plan about goal setting, talking about finance and everything. While I was smoking today was my Perdomo 10th anniversary champagne, smooth stick, Connecticut wrapper. Hey, you can sit here and burn this thing all night long.
It looked real smooth.
Hey,
too.
man, hey, good to go. And it was submitted to me by Mike Calloway at the Up and Smoke podcast. You can tune in to Up and Smoke podcast on SoundCloud Radio. That's streaming all the time. Got a lot of good shows on there. And also have my Belvini Scotch. Hey, listen. I tell you, boy, this is about close you're going to get to heaven before dying.
With that two smooth taste together.
Oh, man, you just don't know. You just don't know. Coca-Cola ain't got nothing on this scotch. But again, this is Deonte Burden with Changing Lives. Hey, listen, you can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube. Make sure you check our station out on YouTube, Changing Lives, hosted by me, Deonte Burden. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, again, if you need further information on consulting, I have the link there. We can book an appointment. You want to reach out to me, you can inbox me any comments that you have about the show. You can also visit my company, Majestic Business Services. We're on the web at www.majesticbiz.com. Hey, listen, had a great time at the show. Love you guys. Thanks again. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. Take